the end of my college career, I was introduced to the field of sports psychology. It's can't make up this story. I'm actually working in a random, on campus job for like a computer repair club, and the janitor's cousin of all people comes in and explains to me that his cousin was a sports psychologist for the San Diego Chargers, so a football team, American football team down here in Southern California. And I was like, sports psychology? Wait. So I have a passion for sports, and then I also have a passion for helping people. And then when I found out about that, it's like, whoa, it merged. So in my head, I'm like, how do I get some of that? I'm trying to get some of that. So then I just start researching religiously, the field and everything like that, and just fell in love with it. So, I mean, long story short, I pursued my master's at Cal State Long Beach, and there I had the opportunity to work with the Long Beach State track and field team. So it was great having that Division I collegiate sport experience. And just the experience alone, it had me constantly progressing. It got to a point where I'm traveling with the team, and that hadn't been done before at the school. And just the connections I was making, the conferences I was attending, it was just like this whole thing is just booming day after day. But it's the ultimate reward, because not only am I doing what I love, I'm making a difference in people's lives. So what I do essentially is to help athletes allow their minds to work for them rather than against them. There's plenty going on in this world and in sport and, just in life that can lead us to, lose sight of our vision or lose sight of all the good that's happening as well. And so, equipping, athletes with those mental skills and the knowledge needed to understand, like, hey, it's okay to acknowledge this, but we can still pursue, higher goals and reach that self-actualization, that ultimate goal. It's just so fulfilling. It's so fulfilling. So yeah, I work with athletes in the, group-based setting as well as individual as well, if there's something specific they want to work on. But yeah, absolutely love what I do.
Yeah.
So rewarding.
And you said you're an athlete yourself. Do you find that helps you in your work, or do you think that's not really important in it? Or I think it's a debate that the kind of sports psychology or mental performance coaches have, because you always think, like, if it's kind of a benefit, or maybe it would be better just to have kind of the knowledge without having your own experience.
Sure. And I'm a very open-minded individual. So like whatever I say, I'm always willing to hear the other end of the side. But I think one of the most pivotal or essential skills to have in this profession is the ability to build trust and rapport. When an athlete feels comfortable with you and is able to connect with you on a deeper level than, oh yeah, practice was good today, but really get to the nitty gritty, that's when, we can get to root of issues, or if there's not even an issue, we can just continue to build off what they have. And I think a lot of that does come with understanding who I am, and the fact that I was an athlete. It's like, oh man, that instantly you can see it in their eyes. Like 9 out of 10 athletes will ask me first thing before I say anything, did you play sports? Or did they play the sport that I participated in? It's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. They don't have to know anything about my degrees, about my education, nothing. But it's like, okay, cool. I trust you. I can talk to you. You understand. So I do think it plays a big role in building that rapport and just having the understanding of like the terminology, the experiences. I'm not one to put my own experience out there in terms of like, this is about me. No, it's all about you. But I can share something that connects with you. That's why I'm not afraid to be vulnerable on, like a social media post or even with them, because it's showing like, hey, I'm a human being. I breathe the same air you do. My heart beats just like yours. And, we can have those experiences, even if they're negative, and still come out on top, and that having that rapport and that trust, it's crucial. It's crucial. So in a nutshell, yes, to answer your question.
I think this is such an important point, and I couldn't agree more. I think it doesn't help necessarily in learning the tools or helping the other person, because of course another person has a different experience to you, and they come from a different background, and they're different person, but it just helps with building that kind of trust, and you immediately have a kind of a common ground to start
Yeah.
from. So
Yeah, that's it. And it's all about like being in the proper state to learn and grow. Like if you're coming into practice already upset and being like, this is going to be a bad practice, chances are you're going to have a bad practice. And the same thing goes with me. If I'm coming in just being like, just dry and unrelatable, it's like, okay, I don't want to be around someone who's dry and unrelatable. So it's like, how can I leverage? Sounds a little bit too harsh of a word, but in a way, how can I leverage myself to be able to connect to you, but also in a way where it's like you are listening and truly soaking up what I'm saying? And that's being relatable. That's being relatable 100%, being just our true authentic selves. So, I definitely make a point to connect in any way I can,
And I think that starts with doing a lot of work on yourself to get to that.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So what would you say, what is like your philosophy, or do you have a philosophy, and how does that kind of relate to your work with your clients?
Of course. Yeah. 100%. My philosophy is always changing, because I'm constantly learning, which is a part of my philosophy. I'm constantly learning and I'm applying that knowledge. But I can say right now that I don't see myself as like a therapist or a shrink or anything like that, more like a facilitator, someone who's able to kind of guide you through your own thoughts and your own actions in order to bring out, what may be holding you back from tapping into your potential. It could be right there. And it's like, oh man, I just need to ask this one question or emphasize this one point. And then all of a sudden, boom, the floodgate opens. So I see myself as a facilitator. I see myself as just a small little piece in the process. I don't think the work that I do necessarily is the ultimate game changer. It's all about the athlete and their willingness to adopt and adapt to the things that we're doing. I'm just a utility tool. I'm a utility tool, but I understand that with that comes a sense of power. I don't like to bestow power or seem like I'm powerful, but I understand I'm not ignorant to the fact that I'm the one talking and they're listening, trying to learn from me. Right. So I need to make sure that I'm on top of my game and constantly evolving and improving myself. So I'm someone who's never satisfied, but also someone who enjoys to see progress being made. And I preach that to my athletes all the time. They're like, I want to be the best. I want to be in the league. I want to be doing this and that and that. But you have to enjoy the process, and you have to enjoy the person that you're becoming along the way. And I adopt that as well. It's understanding the nitty gritty and the times when you're tired and persisting through. And, those are the times right there that are magical. So, yeah, I'm just someone who is ever changing, someone who is constantly seeking knowledge, new ideals, connections to improve myself so that I can improve the lives of others and they can do the same, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think that is actually one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, because I really like this idea you put out in one of your videos, which I really liked, and I think it's so important, is that it's not the medal itself, but it's the person that you become along the way. Yes. I think this is so important, because we tend to have all these goals and, we're working towards the goals and how do we reach them and all these things. But actually just enjoying that journey and being on that journey and what that actually makes us. And I think also with a lot of the people we work with, of course, you work towards the goal of being a world champion or whatever that goal is. But actually the work that you do along the way is more important. And then it actually maybe doesn't matter if you become the world champion, because you become a different person. So I would love to kind of hear a little bit more about your views on that. I saw your video, and I'll link up so other people can see it as well. But
yeah, thank you. Because obviously we all want to be the best at whatever it is that we do. But I think the process doesn't get as much love as it should, because we live in such an instant gratification world where it's like, I need this. I can turn on my phone. I can get any answer that I want. I can talk to someone and get this response. It's like, but the things that truly matter most in life require time, require resilience. It requires stepping outside of that comfort zone and being vulnerable. It requires so much, and you can't gain that exposure. You can't learn about yourself without taking the necessary steps. So yes, becoming a champion is wonderful. Like for sure, I want to be a champion too. I love it. I love it. But I would rather help someone become the very best version of themselves, someone who can then turn around and inspire someone else, someone who can then turn around and coach someone, who can be there for someone, show that support, that love, than someone who's just out to win a gold medal. Because what is the gold medal? What is that at the end of the day? I get there's the legacy, there's the success. Again, I love it. I want it too. But there's more to life and there's more to sport than it. And some of you may be like, what are you talking about? And it's just that. It's just that.
How do you instill that in your athletes? So when they come in and they're like, yeah, I want to be the champion, I want to do this, how do you then kind of get them on this path of
Yes.
also about the journey, or make it more balanced in that way?
Yes. One of the very first lessons I work with any athlete is understanding that everything we do is always bigger than ourselves. Like it's yes, it is about us, but we are always impacting, inspiring, influencing someone else or something else, no matter what we do. So when you're able to detach the selfish mindset and understand, oh man, I have all these people counting on me, or oh man, I may be an 8th grade athlete with a scholarship to Division I school, but there's 100 6th and 7th graders looking up to me. Do I just settle now that I have the scholarship and just, don't work any harder? Or what do I do? So I bring to the table everything that's kind of going on in outside life, sport, and just understand that it's you're a part of something bigger. You always have been, you always will be. And that goes just with that whole process mindset instead of the outcome mindset. That process is developing you to becoming something bigger than that gold medal. The gold medal, it's idolized. It is, but I want you to be idolized.
Yeah.
For doing something positive, And so it's hard, especially with younger athletes who it's like, well, still, I just want the gold medal. So it's like, okay, yeah, no, I get it. But that's just anything, like any type of skill, whether it's physical or mental, it takes consistency, repetition, and showing them, just engaging with them in a way where it strikes a chord emotionally, or where they can relate to it and be like, oh man, that makes sense. That makes sense. So it's being consistent and teaching them that everything is interconnected, and that includes us.
It's so interesting as well, because I think many times we have this idea that being an athlete, at least at the very high level or at the kind of a professional level, is a very selfish way of living.
Sure.
And that we need to be very selfish to get to that point. So I think this idea that it's about something bigger is quite a nice idea to give to athletes.
It is, because there's a time too where, say you do win the gold medal, it's like, if that was the ultimate goal, now what? Now what happens? Because time's going to keep going. So it's like, there has to be something bigger than it, or else I don't know what would happen. Life should be done, right? You got the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
But there's more. There's always something bigger than us.
Yeah. And what is the kind of one thing that you see as the biggest challenge for people that you meet, or for athletes? Like what challenge do you meet most?
I would definitely say those that have a closed mindset in terms of their ability.
Right.
Those that think that, hey, I'm the best. I could, I got to this point, so obviously it's working. And then we talk about my philosophy as being ever changing, constantly wanting to evolve and improve. So it's breaking that barrier down, and that does require getting to the root of maybe something bigger than sport. Because if you're feeling that way about your talent, you're probably feeling that way about other things as well. Something had to have happened, like an experience, or we just got conditioned in a certain way, taught certain lessons. So then, just present the opposite end. It's funny, I was talking to someone earlier, and it's like, what if you were open-minded for 10 seconds, just 10 seconds. And just, after the 10, if you don't like, go back, like it's cool, but just 10 seconds.
Right.
And then they try it and they're like, no, I don't like that. It's cool. But then I tell them the fact that you tried that for 10 seconds means you were open-minded. And they're like, huh. So there's always like levels to it. I try to present things so it's not just like a try this, cool, boom, that's it. But there's always a lesson with everything. And those, honestly, the challenges are the ones that I love. You know, those are the ones that are the most rewarding, because it's like that's the transformation. You know, it's like I see a lot of, you know, transformational posts and everything like that on social media, but it's like that is real life transformation, not to belittle the others. But if you can go from a mindset of being closed and like this can't be done or whatever you feel, to now soaking that up and perceiving things completely different,
Mm-hmm.
that is ultimate, because like we said, with everything, it trickles into everything in life.
Yeah.
It trickles into everything, and that just allows for ultimate growth to occur.
And I think that's why for me sports is so interesting, is because it does affect everything in your life. Like the way you think about getting that gold medal is the way you think in your life as well, and the other way around. So I think all the skills that you're learning along the way to that medal or wherever you're going with your sport, I think is things that you can learn, is life skills really. So that's why it's important, I think, for everyone, not just to get the gold medal, but to learn these skills.
Yes, I agree 100%. It's learning first and foremost your ego and the things that your ego needs to be satisfied. And say you're not satisfied with winning a game because you need to win the next game, you're never going to be satisfied in sport, because you just need to keep winning.
Yeah.
So then when sport ends, how are you going to keep winning? Like there's no more sports. So it's just, you know, there's so many, like you said, life lessons that are interchangeable in sport, out of sport, and that can just be carried over to just live the best possible life we can.
Yeah. Well, that's a good pursuit, to be working with something like that, right?
Yes.
So I've been obviously following you on social media, and I saw one of your recent videos you posted about how to stay in control and focus on the things that you can control. And I think this is such an interesting topic, because I think it's something that when I work with my clients, we often see, you know, we have things we can control and things we can't control. And what do we do about the things that we can't control? Do we focus on them? Do we focus on, you know, it's a constant thing. And you used this term APE, which I really liked. So could you tell me a little bit more about what that is all about?
Yes. So APE is an acronym. It stands for attitude, process, and effort. 3 elements of our control. Okay. Oftentimes what we control is kind of like the nucleus, if you will, of our thoughts, of our actions. There's a core, and that's what we control. Now around that is influence, a bigger circle. Okay. And then around that bigger circle is uncontrollable things. All right. So a lot of times people spend their time in that influence, uncontrollable gray area, when the core, and by core, you know, core at its core is truly being real with you, and real with your thoughts, and real with your actions, emotions, whatever it may be. So your core is having that understanding of what can I do, how can I do it, how effective can I be. And channeling it is tough, because again, there's all that surrounding it, and there's going to be way more influence and uncontrollable things that come your way and feed into your mind than controllable. Okay, so APE, in essence, your attitude, that's just, you know, how you think and feel about someone or something. I can tell a quick story about when I was an undergrad in college. I would dread going to class. You know, I got into, you know, the partying scene. I was in a fraternity, so it's like Fridays, typically there's no school, university. Well, I had class Fridays. So I'd wake up Fridays like, man, I have to go to class, really? We have a party tonight and everything like that. And then you fast forward to when I'm pursuing a master's, something that's more important, and I'm like, I get the chance to go to school today. And that's following working an 8-hour shift until 4, and then getting on the 405 freeway at 4 o'clock. Now down here in Los Angeles, you do not want to be on the 405 freeway at 4 o'clock. It is bumper to bumper traffic. It took me an hour plus to get to school every day. Okay, so I'm working, I'm in traffic, but still it's like I get to go to school. Okay, so out of those two, I have to go to school versus I get to go to school. Which attitude do you think served me better?
Obviously the last one, yeah.
100%. And that's it. Everything in life is how we perceive it. And we get to control our mindset. If I had that mindset going into my undergrad, I'm sure I would have got better than a 3.0 GPA. You know, I carry it out in a master's program and boom, you're looking at straight A's. So it's understanding, okay, I can see this for that, or I can see it for that. What's more effective for me? Okay. And that comes back to the whole, you know, looking in yourself in the mirror and understanding, who am I? What are my core values? What do I want to do with life? Whatever it may be, but having that true understanding. And then when you have that understanding, you associate an attitude that will allow you to get there. I feel like our attitude, our mindset is just, it's the leverage of our ability to put forth the effort and the steps we need to take to accomplish the things that we want. It all starts with our thoughts. It all starts with our attitude. It's the nucleus of our life, for sure. So when you see the importance of it, it's like, man, what am I feeding? What am I fueling my mind? Am I surrounded by people that are negative, closed-minded, don't believe in me? What, you know, that's that check-in time, because that's only gonna give you negative outcomes. All right.
How did you change that mindset from you? So you said from your bachelor's to your master's, you changed your own mindset. So how did that suddenly change?
It went from not knowing what I truly wanted to knowing what I want and why I want it. And that was that reflection. That was me looking in the mirror and being like, hey, you know, I've told a few people this. It's like, I can't look at my future kid in the eyes and say, hey, you can do anything you want in this life. Anything's possible, if I didn't do it myself. You know, I couldn't be a hypocrite in that way. So it's like, let's do this thing. It's bigger than me, like I was alluding to earlier. So now I have a strong why. I know what I want. So it's like, boom, now I can put on the mindset, put on the cap of let's go execute. And that leads to, you know, momentum in the steps you take. And that leads to the process, the P of APE, you know, just the steps we take day in and day out, minute in, minute out, you know, weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever it may be. How we respond to negative things, positive things, getting too high, getting too low, staying neutral, whatever it may be. Are we going to practice? Are we showing up on time? Are we late? That's all within our control. That's all within our control. There's so many elements of the process and our preparation. That's on us, no one else. It's like, if you want something, you can go get it. There's resources everywhere. But despite there being resources, people tend to not be resourceful. So you have to be able to utilize this. You have to have the knowledge, but knowledge isn't power. Application of knowledge is power. So you have to learn these things and you have to apply it. And that's all part of the process. You'll see, I mean, our life as it is right now is just an accumulation of decisions that we've made and, you know, the actions that we've carried out. So it's like, if you don't like where you are right now, change your process, change your mind, change your process. All right. We always have control of this. We always have control of it. And then last but not least, effort. You're either in it or you're not. You know, you're in it or you're into it. Like, there's been plenty of times I've had games and I've had teammates who are in the game, but they're not into the game. So it's like, that's just showing a lack of effort. Again, no one controls that but you. No one controls it but you. So it's, you know, it's easier than it sounds, but it's a very simple notion when you come to terms. Like, there's a lot more outside of my nucleus of control, my ape. It's like, why overwhelm your thoughts on all the extra baggage? Gain control and remain in control and just focus on, if you focus on your ape, you got it. You got it. So it's, you know, again, I like to be efficient, effective with my training. So having the acronym, and especially an animal acronym, the athletes can relate to it. And ape, I mean, it's a pretty dominating animal as well. So that kind of helps with sports. They're like, yeah, I'm going to be dominant like my ape. But yeah, just having a firm understanding of what we can control is essential. You know, it's essential to carrying out the life we want to live, because we have to have a plan of action. But before we do that, we have to be in the right mindset and be willing to give forth maximum effort. So that's just ape in a nutshell.
Nice. I really like one thing that you said as well about being authentic. And I think that's something that's so important for me as well, that I can't sit all day and talk to people and say, you must be the best self. And then I go and watch TV and I'm like not being my best self. So
Right.
being authentic to kind of what you're preaching. Of course, that also involves having some kind of rest, but I think you'd had recently a video as well about authenticity. I know that this topic was angled slightly differently, but you were saying something like authenticity engages or something like that.
Correct. Authenticity engages.
Yeah, and I really think that it's such an important part to try and be authentic. And is that something that you as well are you trying to instill that in your athletes as well, or and how do you?
Definitely. I mean, we'll take basketball for example. I know an athlete who is like 5 foot going into ninth grade, and it's like, hey, you got to be authentic. You are not 6'5". Okay, so what are you going to do with who you are? Mm-hmm. And from there, we're able to break down what's your skill set, what's your mastery at, how can we, position ourselves to be effective on the team. There's a lot you can bring. What is it that we can bring out? The speed, the vision, the coachability, dependency, being a good teammate on the sideline and on the court, the passing ability. How can we position you to be of value by being true to you? Because no matter what, at the end of the night, when you go to bed, you're you. When you wake up, you're you. Middle of the day, you're eating lunch. Guess who you are? You're you. So it's like, be true to you. Be true to you, but we can always be strategic with who we are trying to become at the same time. We can set those goals. We can check in on those goals. We can learn certain skills. But at the end of the day, we have to be real with ourselves. We have to come to terms that who Johnny is not me, is not me. And that helps with breaking down the whole difficulty with comparison. Comparison is huge in athletics. It's like, oh, they're so much better than me. It's like, you are you. You're so much better in so many ways that you're not even focusing on because you're looking at one thing that you're comparing to someone else. Stay true to you. And that's what I mean by authenticity engages. There's certain people, I put that post up last week, and there's a lot of people who have reached out and been like, I really appreciate you saying that. And then there's also been people who who didn't respond well to it. But it's like, I can't change who I am to seek the needs or the desires of certain people. Like, that's not what I'm setting out to do. I'm trying to inspire people and try to be as real as possible because that's all I know what to do. That's all I know how to do it. So I'm a firm believer in just being truly authentic, truly genuine, learning things that can provide you with greater joy in life and better skills to continue to grow. But at the core, it's all about being you. And that starts with the philosophy. That starts with looking at yourself, reflecting, being in tune with who you are. Because you can't do anything until you know truly who you are, or you'll just keep seeing the same old, maybe not even understand why you're seeing those things. So yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey with everything, but it's something that is valuable, and I feel like it's necessary. And if there's an area you feel like you need to improve, be in control of your ape. Make it happen.
And so do you apply this now also? Because obviously now there are a lot of situations, I don't know how it is where you are, but I assume you're also affected by all this coronavirus and stuff. So of course this is something that is to some degree outside of our control. So how do you manage that with your athletes, and how do you focus on themselves in that situation?
Yeah, it's like, can we train together? Yes or no? No. Okay, what can we do to still connect? We can be on Zoom, Skype. Okay, cool. Can we implement maybe a physical training session that we typically do? No, but you have these like objects around the house that we can use to imitate it. Cool, let's bring those to the table. Let's set it up this way. So it's just understanding like everything in life, there's always going to be challenges in life, but there's always solutions in life as well. So it's like when you take a different perspective to the situation, that's when the creative juices start to flow. That's when the creativity starts to flow. And then from there, it's like when we get back to normal, quote unquote, normal circumstances, it's like not only are you now much more resourceful and resilient, you push through a pandemic, but it's like you've gained skill and knowledge and a will to be great. You've proven something to yourself and to your identity, that, hey, I will do whatever means necessary. And it's a two-way street. It's a two-way street working with them. They see, like, I will put in the time as you're doing right now. I mean, it's near 11 o'clock where you are in the evening time, and you're putting in the work. So it's like you just figure out ways to make it happen. Calling the coaches, what are your, checking in, how are the players doing? Have you talked to them at all? Okay, there hasn't been any communication in 2 months. Maybe we should have a meeting. It can be via Zoom, it can be via call. Just check in, see how the family's doing. So it's like that support stays. There's always something they could do. You just have to be willing to do it. Number one, that starts with the attitude, and also just carry out the actions. And just know it's a process, just like with everything. It's a process. So I tell people all the time, like, it requires a commitment. Everything worthwhile in life requires a commitment. So it's like, yes, we can do this for a weekend. Cool, we're really good, nice. But then we don't practice it for a week. What happens? We've lost all that momentum. And now we got to spend time just trying to get the ball rolling again. So it's like, it's just understanding that, hey, I have this vision in mind. And for me, I'm trying to be the best version I can be. So what can I do? I can attend seminars. I can attend, one-on-ones like this. I can have Zoom sessions. I can read the books. I can buy the books. I can, visualize. I can meditate and come up with different ideas and then execute on those ideas. I feel like we have limitless potential. Mm-hmm. And when you have that understanding, the world is your oyster. So, I mean, yes, there is a pandemic, and it's really tough, but I think this has led to tremendous growth with the athletes I've worked with. Yeah. They're starting to see it firsthand, like, oh my goodness, there's a lot of adversity. There's a lot of challenge in life. So now more than ever, I have to be sure that I have the skills and knowledge to be able to handle it and persist through. So, and I'm just happy to be able to pass along some of that to them.
Yeah, and I think probably it will, if it's used in the correct way, I think it'll be able to equip them for things in the future, like when they meet obstacles or they get an injury, they can't train, and how do they cope with it? Then they've already been in that situation, and that will make them stronger for the future situations, I think.
That's it. And we're just trying to see them thrive in sport, out of sport. So I tell them, like, I want to see you be the best athlete, but more importantly, I want to see you be the best person you can be. That's where I went earlier with, it's bigger than us. We never know who we're impacting, and these skills, we can pass them along to the next person, share it, pick up your brother or sister when they're down, don't laugh at them, kick them while they're down. So it's like, but gaining that exposure is huge. And like you said, just having like the coping skills and just the abilities for future events is everything, because it's not going to stop. Unfortunately, there's always going to be hardships and adversity in life. So it's like, let's improve while we can.
It's the times where we're growing the most. So I will not say I love obstacles, but close.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think this was great. I think there was so much information that the athletes can use both now, but in general as well. And I just want to thank you a lot for taking the time. It's a little bit better time where you are than where I am at the moment. But
we got to get you out to California.
I know the sunshine is very tempting.
I hear you.
If anyone wants to kind of connect with you, where can they follow you? Where do they connect with you?
Yes, I am on Instagram at Championship Cognition. Same goes for YouTube. Championship Cognition. I'm posting daily sports psychology videos, inspiration, motivation. I'm just trying to help bridge the gap of where you are to where you're trying to be. So, I tell everyone, I'll tell you listening, if you ever need anything, reach out. You know, I'm not someone in this just to try and get likes or follows or anything. I'm legitimately trying to make this world a better place. And if you need anything, never hesitate. Never hesitate.
Perfect. Thank you so much. What a great way to end then.
Thank you. I appreciate you and your time, and thank you for having me on here.
Thank you.